Well, this is one of a series of 6 carved wood draperies that my father installed in his apartment in the Dakota in about 1955, 1960. Be right after the war. When we first moved into the Dakota, um, I can remember them being at low relief, uh, fairly flat. At some point in time, Dad bought what I think was a, a theater prop. In other words, something from an opera set or something like that, which was a very Baroque, very uh, high relief set of these draperies that was small. I mean, not that small. They were about 6 feet tall and maybe 5 feet wide. And I think these inspired him to make the much more dramatic relief ones that he used in his living room. Well, no, they weren't all the same style. This was a single example that was in his bedroom. In the living room, there were 3 windows, so they each had their own set of draperies, and those are the most elaborate of all. And then in the room, which was my bedroom in events, there was a set that did not go all the way to the floor, but sort of it was suspended above the floor. Interestingly enough, the 3 that were in the living room ended up in Getty's collection.
So were these only at the apartment in Dakota, or were they also at the shop on 55th Street?
No, they weren't at the shop on 55th Street.
So if they were only at the house, how did clients come to discover them?
Well, I mean, he wasn't a hermit. He had people over to for drinks or dinner or whatever. So they saw them.
So when did you make a pair of these for a set of these?
Well, after Dad died, I mean, it's a very significant undertaking to make these things. And one day, I was with Albert Hadley, who was working for the Gettys at that time. We were up on the 3rd floor talking about various things. And he said, "Tony, would you ever consider making a set of draperies for the Gettys?" I said, "Why not?" And he immediately went down the hall to the upholstery shop and got a whole bunch of muslin. And we started tacking it up on the wall. And he got up on a ladder and he draped this stuff, the muslin. And he said, "I'd like something like this." And we took pictures of it and we made drawings, and eventually we made the draperies. That was to give inspiration to the carvers in terms of the sweep of the fabric and how it should be gathered and so forth.
Is that a 12 to 16 week turnaround?
I don't think so. I mean, I can remember going over to the Getty's apartment and measuring multiple times just to make sure we had the window opening correct.
So Dad, what happened if these draperies went around a window with an air conditioning unit?
Well, you know, that original variety, the very low relief ones that were made right after the war, predated window air conditioners by a number of years. And when they did start making them, they were these gargantuan units. And of course, you couldn't get them into the window because the window opening was reduced by the width of the draperies. So he just had to take a saw to the draperies and hinge an opening so we could get this thing into the living room window and the other windows in the house. Eventually, the ones that we made for the Gettys, when they gave up that apartment on 5th Avenue that they had, they took them out to California, and eventually they were sold in her collection, and I believe they actually were sold at Stair Galleries.